witches, how is everyone doing this cold December morning? I am so excited to start this project. This is the very first episode of the Wandering Hedge Witches podcast. I wanted to do sort of an introductory podcast and let you know who I am, what I do, things about witches, and, what I hope for this podcast to come. So, let's start with who I am. My name is Rebecca. I was born in South Florida in North Miami Beach. I grew up in both Miami, and when I was preteen age, permanently moved up to a rural town in Georgia and switched between this tiny town and Miami most of my life. When I was a little older and wanted to go to college, I went back down to South Florida, then moved back to Atlanta, and then about almost 10 years ago, I moved out to here in Colorado, and now we live out in the Rockies in a tiny town about 45 minutes to an hour from the Springs, and that's not even the end of our journey. In true wandering spirit, my husband and I are currently looking to move to the Pacific Northwest, specifically in Oregon, and try to seek out opportunities out there. So I'm so excited for this journey. That's a little about where I come from. I have been a practicing eclectic witch since I was about 16, 17 years old. I religiously have been a pagan around the same time. I've been out of the broom closet for 16 years now, but I've been a witch for a little over 20 years. I attest a lot of my life to witchcraft and magic and the spells that I've manifested and created. I do a lot of divination, like oracle cards. I do tea readings, bibliomancy, which is divination through books. And I also help baby witches, as they're called now, to find their own path. So I am super excited. Like I said, this project has been a long time coming. I decided this past Mercury retrograde cycle that I really wanted to go back to my witchcraft roots and teach again, to offer my divination services, and to test the waters of things that I am a little uncomfortable with, such as a podcast, going back to doing videos, and blogging on my website. I will still do social media, but I am kind of pulling the reins back on that, just mental health wise. It's a little better for myself, and a lot of people that I talk to that do witchcraft, they tend to get a little overwhelmed and overstimulated by looking at social media. I completely understand. So that is pretty much a little brief story about where I come from and who I am and what I do. I wanted to talk a little bit about what it means to be a witch for myself, as well as what I feel witchcraft is and being a witch for the majority of us. I can't speak for everyone, but I can speak for myself. To me, a witch is someone that is free-spirited, communicates with nature, beings, spirits, and guides. I believe that a witch is somebody that upholds secret teachings and healings, powers, gifts. I also believe that a witch is somebody that is very powerful and against the patriarchy. I myself have been true to my sun sign, which is an Aquarius. I am very rebellious, and I rebel against a lot of authority. I am turning 41 next month, and I still am very free-spirited and very rebellious against people that tell me what I should and shouldn't do. So I believe that witches are very similar. I believe that witches also are here to help guide, help heal, help teach, help grow, and help to evolve our state of being, our world, make it a better place, make it a little brighter, a little more magical. There are different types of witches, such as chaos witches, crystal witches, there's storm witches, green witches. I personally am a hedge witch, which is very similar to cottage and kitchen witchery. I do a lot of magic throughout the home and the hearth, as well as nature and animals. I am also a practicing pagan, like I said, and I definitely believe that my paganism and religious beliefs to the gods and goddesses that I follow is tied in together. But I also know and believe that you can be a witch without being religious. Witchcraft and paganism are two different things. Paganism is the belief in a deity, a polytheistic pantheon, like Hellenism, Druidism, Avalonianism, Arthurianism. There's so many out there. And I know that you can practice paganism without being a witch. You can also practice witchcraft without being a pagan. You do not need religion in witchcraft. Although, like I said, I do believe that it definitely helps me personally, and I owe a lot of gratitude to my gods, goddesses, and guides, as well as my spirit animals and spirit guides, and ancestral, which we'll get into on another episode. Like I said, I use a lot of divinational tools like pendulums, oracle cards, tarot cards, tea leaves, and I do bibliomancy. Oh man, yeah, I love divination. I am definitely, if you are a Harry Potter fan, I am definitely a Professor Trelawney character, and thoroughly enjoy my divination practice. I first got into witchcraft, like I said, when I was around 16 or 17 years old. I found a book in Barnes and Nobles, of all places, and it was doing witchcraft through the elements, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful book. I really loved that book, and since it was the first introduction into witchcraft for me and the beginning of my journey, I wish I could remember the author's name, and I wish I still had the book, but unfortunately, I grew up in southern Georgia, the South. I grew up in Georgia, which is obviously part of the Bible Belt, and witchcraft was very shunned against. I was dating this guy at the time, and he was a few years older than me, and very, very Southern Baptist, which again, have nothing against other people's religion, as long as you're not hurting anybody, harming any animals, or pushing it on somebody else. I respect everybody's religion. I do not respect when people tend to push it onto others, and he started to do that. He found the book and confronted me about it, told me that if any of his family found out, that they would persecute me as a witch in front of his church, this, that, and the other, which I laughed, not gonna lie, laughed, which did not help the situation. And then he forced me to watch him burn my book, and literally within minutes of seeing him do that, I was like, yeah, this is not for me, I'm out, bye. Chose witchcraft over that dude, thank the gods. But that also pushed me, like I said, I'm very rebellious, don't like people telling me what to do or what not to do, and I use that as a catalyst to buy more books and study more. That's literally been my dream since I started on this path. I knew I was meant to teach this wonderful world of witchcraft, and I do not I'm not jealous, or I'm not ill-minded towards other witches. I know social media can be very flooded and tends to be very overwhelming. There is witch talk, there's witches of Instagram. I recently just signed back up for Twitter. That's still what it's called. And there's a lot of witches on Twitter. And I know that we all offer something to this wonderful world of magic, wonderful world of witchcraft. I have had dreams and visions since I was 17 that I was meant to start a school and be a part of a witchcraft school, and that's something that I still hold true to today. I would love to have a witchy school. And I remember seeing Harry Potter for the first time and being like, yes, that's it. Oh my gosh. A bunch of witches teaching baby witches in a cool old castle. Goals, right? Before I go on that tangent, what I want to bring to this podcast is experience, education, stories, and just excitement for people wanting to get into the world of witchcraft. I will talk about different things in witchcraft, from spells to ethics to history, and get into paganism. I'll get into starting a business with witchcraft, and you know, there's so many things to talk about, and I'm really hoping that anyone that comes across this podcast that hears it, listens to it, will ask questions. I would love to help anything that you would like to know. And yeah, just excited to see where this goes and grows. I didn't want to spend too terribly long on here for my first episode. Like I said, I am still experiencing and learning podcast world, as well as podcasts with videos. This is a very new thing for me. I love being behind the camera. I love making content, and I love writing, but being in front of the camera is something that I'm getting used to again. I am so excited that you joined me on here. Yeah, thank you so much for stopping by. And if you are interested in anything else, you can find me on social media. I am on Instagram and TikTok as the Wandering Hedge Witch. I am also on Twitter now. They did not let me put the full thing out there, but I am TW, the Wandering Hedge Witch, on Twitter. I am online. You can find my blog, my website at thewanderingHedgewitch.com. I hope to see and hear from you soon. Thank you for joining me on this very first podcast. Like I said, I'm super excited for what comes in the future. And before I sign off, I will pull a card from one of my favorite decks. It is the Avalon Oracle, and I have had this deck now for years and years. I love this deck so much. And yeah, let's see what they have to say. A message for us for today, for this coming week. And it is the Fear card, which, if you are watching this on a platform that shows the video, you can see in the card there is a lovely grassy area, a little creek, rocks, and then a forest, which is showing that while our path may have obstacles, it may have hard spots to get through, do not be afraid of what's on the other side. Usually on the other side of fear is something wonderful, is a beautiful opportunity for us, and we should take the chance and take the leap to go through this creek to get to the other side, and don't let fear hold you back. Thank you again for joining me. I look forward to the next episode. Have a great and wonderful rest of your day, everyone.